Hey, welcome back to Streamline Entertainment. It's your boy Marvin. We're going to be talking about Piers Morgan talking to Douglas Murray and also Grace Blakeley, who's been on the show before. She's an author. And they're going to be debating an oil protester who was punched by a furious motorist. But let's get the full story and see what they say on it.
The author Grace Blakeley and best-selling author of The War on the West, Douglas Murray, over in the States. All right, Grace, as I've said repeatedly from the start of this, I have a lot of sympathy and agreement with the cause of Just Stop Oil. I think climate change is real. I think there are real problems facing this planet that we need to deal with, and so on. But these protests, the way they're going about them, they are not bringing people with them. They are alienating the very people they should be trying to persuade. I don't get it. The more they do it, the more they're infuriating the public. I don't see anyone saying, great, they've ruined my day, I must come and join them.
They've already achieved their aim, which is to get us to talk about it. You know, half the time that I come on shows, the lead item is something to do with the culture wars. It's, you know, something about trans rights or some bathroom issue or whatever. And we've just had the hottest week recorded in history. We've seen temperatures in Europe rise to heights that we've never seen in history. These people literally want to set the agenda, and that is what they're doing. And the thing that scares me the most, we've had a lot of debates in the past about free speech, about actually, you know, the state overstepping the mark. And when I see videos like that of people literally, you know, the arms of the state literally dragging people off the streets and saying, you're not allowed to be here, you should be doing this.
No, but they're allowed.
That's worrying to me.
No,
that strikes me as a threat to civil liberties.
No, but this is where the problem is, because I've got no problem with exercising their right to free speech or peaceful.
I think she's missing the point a bit. I'll tell you why I think that. It's because the police should be doing more. They shouldn't be blocking up the roads. People have got to get hospital appointments. People have got to get home for their kids. Lorry drivers, taxi drivers. And when you see this and you've got to turn around or you're too scared to move someone off the road just in case you get arrested or you get assaulted, anything could happen. It's a catch-2 situation. I think the government should be doing more about Just Stop Oil protesters blocking up the road and being allowed to sit on the road. It's dangerous. It really, really is dangerous. As we saw this situation got out of hand, where the man hit a protester, which he shouldn't have done, but I'll go into that a bit later.
Protest. I don't think they have a right to ruin everyone's.
Inconvenience.
Well, no. To ruin people's fun days out. They've saved maybe all year to go and see at the cricket or the flower show or whatever it may be. I don't think ordinary people should have their days ruined in that way. Nor do I think they should be blocking roads like Vauxhall Bridge, which lead down to one of the
busiest. These people are aware of the
fact.
fact.
Let me finish. That lead down to one of the busiest hospitals in London, if not the country. I don't think they should be stopping people going to and from hospitals. There's no legitimate reason to be doing that.
These people are aware of the fact that the main segment of people who are dying from climate breakdown are extremely poor people who live in the global south. Places like the north of India, Pakistan, that area of the world where you've seen temperatures get up to temperatures that scientists say it is not possible for human habitation.
So why aren't they protesting over there?
Well, because they live here, and we are the countries that have historically emitted the most carbon dioxide. It is the countries that are in the global south where poor people are dying.
Why do we never see them in China, the biggest polluters in the world?
We have the power in this country, in Europe, in America, in the most powerful countries in the world, in the richest countries in the world, to change things. China has actually done a lot already. 98% of the world's electric buses
China is by far the biggest polluter in the world, and you never see Greta Thunberg or any...
Look, the point is, this has happened. The government are going to have to put something through Parliament to stop this, because it seems to be happening more and more. First it was every couple of months, now it's every couple of weeks, and these protesters are willing to sit it out. When one basically gets moved, the other one moves on and then comes back and takes the seat on the road, which is not good. It can affect the economy, it can affect deliveries, it can affect emergency services. I think the police have got to do more. It can't go on like that. It's absolutely crazy. And another thing is someone's eventually going to get hurt, and it has happened. Someone lashed out. So the police and the government are going to have to get involved in this, because this is getting kind of serious now and silly.
Just stop all protesters in China.
How did we get rich?
And you know why? Because in China they get a very different treatment.
How did we get rich? It was from emitting carbon dioxide.
Let me go to Douglas. Douglas, I don't know about you. I just find them unbelievably irritating, and increasingly so. I think there are a bunch of attention seekers who love just getting in the papers, and that's fine. But why is the state and the police tolerating it in the way that we seem to be?
Well, I'd go slightly further than you, Piers. I mean, they are a sort of end-time apocalyptic cultist movement of a kind that Londoners and others have seen throughout history. People who go gibbering through the streets screaming about the imminence of the apocalypse. And I don't have much time for their views. And I think that their method of protest increasingly, of course, means that more and more members of the public don't have much time for their views. Freedom of speech, of course everyone defends it. Freedom of protest, everyone defends it. But you do not have a right. I have strong views on a whole range of things. I don't have the right to go and sit in the middle of the M24 and tell everyone else to go, hang, whilst I decide to tell them how they should go about their day or ruin their day. I'd be hauled off the motorway in a moment, and quite rightly so. The freedom to protest doesn't extend to disrupting the lives of everyday people trying to go about their business. And I just can't understand why they think that they're advancing their cause. I, at any rate, think that we still haven't had one even reasonable person emerge from the Just Stop Oil and etc. movement. Every time you get one on, they're a sort of gibbering wreck.
Well, also they get very abusive very quickly and turn it all very personal, when in fact I try and explain, I don't think your methods are working, but I agree with a lot of the message. And so it's a campaign I think would get much more public support if they weren't just being so deliberately irritating.
This is my point. If they were on pavement, leaflets or talking to people could understand it a lot more. Yeah, protest, but do it properly. You get more likely, it's getting news. But a lot of people who want to live their everyday lives, if they're interested, if they're on the pavement, if they've got a stand, if they're maybe voicing an opinion on a microphone, you can listen in and have your view and understand in depth in what they're trying to say. But, it's got to the point where it's silly now. They're causing more enemies and more frustration on the roads, and the government and police are not doing enough about it, and this has to stop. You know what I mean? Anyone will think that they can protest over anything and march on the streets and do silly things, and it's just going to lead to more acts of violence of what we saw at the end of the day. Basically the guy who got out the car, I think he was out of order. I don't think he should have basically assaulted someone. That's what he did, and like I said, you can go to court for that. You can get a criminal record for that. Was it worth it? I don't know, but Mrs. was pregnant, he lost his head, and he reacted. But there's going to be a lot more going on. I mean, if he'd picked him up and put him on the side and drove off, no one can begrudge him of that at the end of the day. But like I said, you can't just lose your head and attack someone at the end of the day. They're doing wrong, but you're likely to get the blame to us. I saw this video where a man got out of his car. This was a few months ago. Went to move a protester in the road, and the police intervened and nearly arrested the man getting hands on to move it, because that the copper said that's assault. So there you go. It's a catch-22 situation. So it's up to the government and police to do something about it before this gets out of hand. It's crazy.
To the public and obstructive to the public's ability to go about their day-to-day life. I mean, I think that incident today, where you saw a guy who's in a car with apparently his pregnant partner, and they get, I think, hit by a lorry behind them. So there's a collision, a crash. And she gets out, this pregnant lady, and is remonstrating with the thing. And this guy clearly loses his rag. Now, the violence he then commits is unacceptable, and most people would agree with that. But I can certainly understand why he's reached a point of boiling rage. And you're thinking, well, where are the police here? This protest has been going on for God knows how long that morning. Why have the police not intervened to stop this particular incident then happening?
It's because the guidance that
that could have easily got way out of hand, because there were other people saw the protester actually get hit and wanted to basically another guy wanted to attack the guy who hit the protester. So you can't win either way. Do you know what I mean? It's once again the police are going to have to act at the end of the day. Because this could get really, really silly at the end of the day. That could have turned into a massive brawl there. It really could have quite easily.
the British police have had in recent years has consistently been to protect the protesters from the general public, rather than protecting the general public from having their lives repeatedly
Do you remember what happened when we had protests around the murder of Sarah Everard? Do you remember the police treatment of those women there?
Yeah,
I remember
absolutely.
it very well. In fact, and this continuously happens quite a lot. We have astonishingly now draconian rules about protests. And it was not that long ago, I remember, where, a lot of the subjects and debates that we have been having was about, are the left snowflakes? They want to shut everyone down. They want to cancel everyone. We, want to protect free speech. What happened to the free speech defenders? The right to protest is genuinely at risk in this country.
No one is saying they can't protest.
It is at risk in this country.
No one is saying they can't protest.
We
are objecting to them causing literally, as in today with this incident, a car.
That was a false equivalence right there.
Incredibly small-minded when you say, people are trying to go about their day, and there are people basically literally standing here saying, all I want to do is highlight the fact that there are going to be millions, hundreds of millions of people who will die if we don't change course right now. And you say,
we all have
strong
views. We all have strong views on a wide range of subjects. As it happens, the policing of the Sarah Everard case was a classic case of the police getting it wrong. Everybody admits that. The commissioner had to step down after it. That was people protesting peacefully, as it happened during a period of lockdown. But the point is with the Just Stop Oil people is they do have a kind of protection, because it seems that the advice that the police have repeatedly given the leaders of the police forces in Britain has been that because climate change has become such an obsession of so many people in Britain, you might lose public sympathy for the police if the police were seen to be cracking.
Look, it's right. It's right what you're saying. It's Douglas Murray. It's a catch-2 situation. If they do get heavy with the protesters, there's going to be more argument in Parliament, and it's going to cause. But if you look the other way, with your Joe Blogs or your worker or families getting from A to B, you could have a flight to get to get to the airport. It's not good for general life at the end of the day. It seems there's one rule for one and another rule for these Stop Oil protesters at the end of the day. Something's seriously got to be done about it, I think, because it's just going to get out of hand and we're just going to see more violence on the street over things like this.
We've got to move on to the second part of this segment. We're going to move on, but all I would say is I think it's time the police got these protesters off busy streets.
Honestly, I think this
otherwise, what you're going to see, I'm seeing a rising number of incidents of the public taking the law into their own hands, and we're going to end up in a very bad situation, which will be a lot worse than the video we saw today. I can guarantee it. Because if someone is stopping someone getting their wife may be dying, racing her to hospital, and they get stopped by Just Stop Oil protests, there's going to be a very unpleasant incident.
Most people on the right are actually very illiberal, and this is actually going to be interesting when we move on to this next segment, because everyone says we want a small state, but when it's the state stamping its boot on someone in the street, it's
Allow me to move us on to the next part of the debate. Thank you, Grace.
She's very vocal, Grace. Look, my thoughts are on that at the end of the day. You can't react in violence, however angry you are, at the end of the day, because I think that gentleman, I know his wife was pregnant, I know he was in a crash, and you know, people can judge me on that at the end of the day, but he's likely to get a knock on the door at the end of the day about his reaction, or even end up in court for it at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? You can do that, but it's up to, like Piers said, this could get a lot worse very, very quickly. So I think the government are to blame and need to stamp their authority on this and get these stop-all protesters off the road, and for them to do it in parks or on the pavement or book a road where it's not so busy. But something's got to be done urgently, because you know, your everyday person, could be anyone. Come on, we've got to get to work. We're living in hard times at the moment, and this is the last thing we need. So I hope there's a bit of a settlement on this case. Hope you like the video, and don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Entertainment and support your boy Marvin. Thank you, and let's have some comments. Let me know what you think. Because, you know, it is a big topic of conversation at the moment, all over the news, in the tabloid. So who knows where we go with this one.